So, if you're new to my channel, I'm Dylan Dre from Palmspringsfabulous, and today I'm joined by Jen Kubat, who has a wonderful vintage clothing store called Muse. We're also part of the wonderful Women's Entrepreneur Club of Palm Springs. So, Jen, I want to know, how did you start your business in the wonderful world of vintage?
Yeah. Well, I feel like it's kind of a funny story because it kind of started back when I was in college. So back when I was in college, I have this memory of this being my favorite job I ever had. And so I used to work at this store in Santa Barbara called Comanici's, and it was this gorgeous antique store. It had like all these rooms. It used to be this like 1940s like Italian restaurant that she had turned into a store. So it was my favorite job. So I worked there for like 2 years when I was like 19 and 20. And then you graduate college and then you go off and you're like, wow, that was my favorite job I ever had. And throughout the years, I worked in e-commerce and in fashion. I was a styling assistant for a while. And then I also worked at this e-commerce company doing like customer service. And at the time, it was like 2015. And I was just like so burnt out of like the schlepping and all the, the work and everything. So I was just like, not really happy with my job. And so I logged into Facebook one day and I saw that my old boss from Comanici's was actually going to be closing her store, and she was going to be selling her entire vintage clothing collection. So I was like, oh my God, I just like logged into Facebook and saw this. Like, is this like, and I'm like not happy with my job. And I'm like, maybe I need to do this. So I just kind of like toyed with the idea. So I reached out to her and sent her a message, and I was like, oh my God, Gina, I miss you. Like, I hope you're doing well. Like, I saw that you're selling your collection. Like, how much are you selling it for? I was just curious, because I had some savings in my bank, and I was like, maybe I'll just buy it for myself and just do it on the side. So I asked her, and so she told me how much she was selling it for, and I was like, wait, I can afford that. Like,
amazing. What a blessing.
So I went for it, purchased her whole collection. It was like, I had to take like a couple trips out there because it was so much stuff. But I mean, it started me out with like probably about like a couple hundred pieces of vintage clothing.
That's amazing.
And so I was like, I'm going to just go for it. So I literally quit my job and then just started trying to sell stuff on Etsy and going from there. And, 7 years later, I'm here. So in Palm Springs, and I love it here. I used to have a shop up in the Bay Area. And then I just moved down here, and it's been great. So,
we're so thrilled. Yeah. We're so thrilled to have you here. What an amazing start to the career. What a blessing.
I know, I got lucky.
Straight away,
just went for it.
People like have a few pieces, and then you had like over 100 pieces.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Now I want to know, because you're called Muse, the shop. So who's your muse?
Yeah, well, you're my muse, too.
Oh,
so you're obviously, she's fabulous.
Thank you.
Like, literally Palm Springs fabulous. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like it's, that kind of leads me into my mission statement, because I kind of feel like, everyone can be their own muse. And that's sort of like our whole like, mantra for the shop. And, it's all about finding those pieces that you can literally just like put on and feel fabulous and look like somebody that is your inspiration. Like when you look through a fashion magazine and you see those models and you see like, what they're wearing in Dior, like you can get that with vintage. And so that's sort of like the whole like mantra, and just kind of having fun and playing with fashion in that way.
Absolutely. And we're playing in her clothing today. I love this dress. Tell me what I'm wearing.
Gorgeous. Yeah, so Dylan is wearing one of my favorite pieces I have right now in the collection. So this is by a New York designer. Her name is Molly Parnis, and this dress is from the 1960s, and it was actually owned by a woman that owned a dance hall in Philadelphia. And so she had all of these gowns, and that's what I love about vintage, is that these have had previous lives.
Yeah, there's a story behind it.
Yeah, and so like just looks amazing on Dylan. It's like an incredible condition. This is silk velvet, and it's fully lined. It's gorgeous.
And the color is amazing. And now look at this spectacular piece.
I'm obsessed.
So and tell me about this one. What era is this? 60s?
This is 60s.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that beautiful powder blue.
Yeah, and vintage is so well made. Like, see how it just fits me so nicely, like the way it's like
the quality
starts,
is incredible.
You know, like when you go shopping nowadays, like you don't have that attention to detail with the clothing, especially with the fabrics too. So, you know, that is something that, you know, I've always been into, because even working in the fashion industry, I always would shop vintage because I was just feeling like burnt out with the stuff you would find in, you know,
and
modern
it's
clothing
unique.
stores.
You're not going to show up and someone will be standing next to you wearing the same
Exactly,
thing.
Dylan. Yeah, exactly.
So do you have a mission statement for your business?
Yeah, so it literally is be your own muse.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's also about sustainability. It's about buying things that you're not just going to throw away after a season.
Yes.
It's about building your collection. It's about building your own personal style, your own closet. And it's a piece at a time. So, you know, obviously you can't get everything all at once, but you know, you start to collect these pieces and then you'll build out your wardrobe.
So who were some of your favorite designers and eras from, you know, the past?
Yeah. So what Dylan is wearing right here, so Molly Parnas, I always try to seek out this designer from the 60s, just because the fabrics are very luxe, like they're like silk velvet. They're, you know, really, really well made. It feels like you're shopping at Gucci, like the clothes, you know? So I love those New York designers. I also love like Malcolm Starr, which this dress is very inspired by Malcolm Starr. I also love contemporary designers. I love YSL. Like any year of YSL, I'm down for. So mostly I love like the 70s, 80s, and I just, you know, I'd like to mix and match. So it's hard to choose an era because there's so much good stuff out there, but I would say that my personal style is like 60s, 70s.
But then people can shop Muse and they're going to find all those eras.
Yeah.
And so how do people shop Muse? If they want to find you, how do they find you?
Yeah. So primarily we're online right now. So you can go to our website at musetheshop.com. We're also very active on Instagram. So, you know, I like to be a little more personal on Instagram. So I'll do like lots of selfies and clothes. So you can kind of see how I would style something. So follow us there at Muse the Shop on Instagram. And then otherwise we do these vintage shows and pop-ups. That's actually where I met Dylan. So I met her at the Desert Vintage Collective in Palm Desert. And so they're going to be doing another one, I think, in the fall. So stay tuned for that.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to put all the links below so you can find Jen and do some shopping and be your own muse. And I'm so excited that we got to be together and play dress ups. And
She's Palm Springs Fabulous.
I am Palm Springs Fabulous, and Jen's a wonderful muse, and you can be your own muse as well. And it's wonderful to be with like-minded women entrepreneurs. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Stay fabulous.